Happy Monday. So we'll get started. So let's start by settling the body in meditation. So thinking about keeping our feet flat on the ground and our back straight, our torso open. Hands are in the lap right over left with the palms upturned and the thumbs touching, forming a gentle triangle against the body. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open. Our gaze is unfocused and downward. We try to avoid depending on a backrest or slouching or leaning. But we also try to avoid unnecessary rigidity or tension. Just allow your body to settle into a stable, comfortable, upright position. Then withdraw, attending to the world outside. Try instead to hold your attention, your awareness just to the body and mind. And let go even of thoughts of the past or the future, trying to concentrate the mind in the present moment by narrowing down your awareness just to the sensation of the breath, breathing naturally and normally and attending only to the physical sensations that accompany both the in-breath and the out-breath, particularly in the space around the nostrils. then generate an altruistic motivation for your time, thinking of the benefits of your practice and how those benefits have a vast reach on the basis of understanding interdependence with all other sentient beings. That my practice is how I benefit sentient beings most profoundly. And then with that motivation, we'll contemplate the fourth noble truth and true path that leads to the cessation of suffering. So, with this truth, we'll look at the skillful means that the Buddha gave to eliminate suffering. But in a way, the antidotes, the path that we use depend upon our understanding of the first three noble truths. Not only our intellectual understanding, but the way that they are influencing in our daily lives, our choices, our decisions. So we'll start by reviewing, checking what do I really think causes ultimately my suffering? Do I understand that I will meet with unsatisfactory conditions again and again as long as the origin, the cause of that suffering is present? Do I believe that there is a true, complete cessation to suffering? For ordinary beings, unsatisfactory conditions can be defined quite lightly, only capturing overt physical or mental distress. The cause might often be labeled as external, and the cessation then may only be thought of as temporary. And this differs from the understanding of the Aryas, the noble ones, that unsatisfactory conditions go quite deep, that their cause is in the mind, and that their cessation can be completely permanent. So try to think back in your own direct experience. Am I still trying to understand? What don't I understand? What more do I need to clarify my doubts? And what gaps remain between my intellectual understanding and my actions? when we can see that the origin of our unsatisfactory conditions are principally in the mind, and they go to very deep and subtle levels, then we can recognize that the antidotes that we need must also be vast and profound. We need a huge variety of skillful means to combat the afflictions that are arising in the mind. So, with that understanding, we recognize that it's really the training in the Lam Rim, stages of the path to awakening, where we can find the antidotes. So, we recognize that we have to progress through the three scopes of the Lam Rim. To become a genuine spiritual practitioner, we have to care more about future lives than we do about the content of this life. We have to put more time and energy and effort into cultivating our spiritual trajectory than we do trying to arrange the happenings in just this one life. So, is that true? Am I a practitioner of even the small scope of the Lam Rim? Do I understand that correctly relying on the spiritual mentor is the root of the path? Do I understand the preciousness and the rarity of my perfect human rebirth? Have I developed refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha? Do I understand karma and its effects? And have I turned away from creating the causes of the worst kinds of suffering in cyclic existence? So think about whatever you might know of the initial scope, small scope, and make a determination to practice it well, to master the small scope in this life. And on the basis of that, I will enter the middle scope of the Lam Rim, and I will need to recognize that there's nowhere in ordinary cyclic existence free of difficulty, free of unsatisfactory conditions. I'll need to turn away from creating the causes of any rebirth in cyclic existence, developing a genuine renunciation. So bring to mind the obstacles that you face even with a perfect human rebirth, and even with rebirths in the upper realms. And try to see the importance of not looking at cyclic existence as a pleasure grove, but as something to develop renunciation of, and set a determination to understand that and practice that more deeply. But even then, we must realize that renunciation alone isn't sufficient. Eliminating our own suffering doesn't benefit other sentient beings. We must practice the great scope and develop the aspiration to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, not being content with putting an end just to our own suffering, but needing to relieve the suffering of all sentient beings without exception. Try to generate some admiration, some interest in the great scope, seeing it as necessary and resolving yourself to practice it well. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. Then we'll dedicate. So recollect your altruistic motivation, and then think that by having contemplated these topics, created positive energy in the mind, and think very strongly that you dedicate that positive energy for being able to truly understand the Four Noble Truths. And on the basis of that, to engage in the practice of the Lam Rim, to master small, medium, and great scopes, to create the causes and the conditions for the arising of the state of enlightenment in your mind, to be of perfect benefit to all sentient beings without exception. And may this energy ripen in whatever way is beneficial for sentient beings now and in the future, pacifying hunger and disease, but also providing the causes and the conditions for the arising of enlightenment in the minds of all sentient beings. And by practicing in this way, may any obstacles to the Guru's long life be fully pacified. And may we and all sentient beings be guided and protected by the enlightened beings from this moment until our swift enlightenment. Thank you.